just start with the Guru Vandana.
Yeah.
Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya, Surya Koti Nirvignam Kuru Me Dev Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namo.
Thank you.
Welcome to Achlaa for today's session on hypnotherapy. And Achlaa and I actually, often people ask me, how I started on this spiritual journey. And Achlaa has a role to play in that conscious beginning of the journey. She's a recruiting person, and I was her candidate once. And we had met for discussions about a prospective job, and we got talking, and she actually took me to an organization where meditation was taught and a lot of other activities were happening. And that was a conscious entry of sorts for me. Just like, she said a few minutes back when we were talking that once we start, you'll realize how many times you've been hypnotized. Similarly, we are all at some level in a journey already. It's just that consciously we can think of some point as the beginning. And that beginning for me, Achlaa is the person who had taken me there. So there is, she's aware of it, and there is deep gratitude and regard in my heart for her having done that for me at that point of time. And because I really, really needed it. And she was the channel who accommodated that step for me. So, and about Achlaa, besides the fact that she runs a recruitment firm, as she herself describes herself as a seeker. And therefore, I shall not put any more labels to that. I could go into Buddhist chanting, hypnotherapy, working with crystals, havans, meditation, and all that. But since she describes herself as a seeker, we will leave it at that. And over to you, Achlaa. We're all really looking forward to listening to you today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Anu. Thank you so much. She said that I was the channel, but I think all of us are channels for each other. Today, she's the channel. I'm sure tomorrow somebody else is going to be a channel for someone else. So it's thanks to all. It's to the universe and to everybody who comes and play in the universe. I guess we have to say thanks. It's very interesting to say about hypnosis, hypnotism. Everybody gets very excited when you hear the word hypnotherapy, because we all have some kind of a connotation, some kind of an understanding about hypnotherapy in our minds. I don't want to get into, like a lecture, but let's make it very interactive. Would you like to come and ask me questions, even to an extent of asking what is hypnotherapy, if you think you'd like to ask? So the topic is hypnosis and hypnotherapy. So, and if I were to say what is hypnosis, I'll just give a little brief for about a couple of lines, and then let's open the floor to questions, because I think the more questions you will have, the better understanding each one of you would get it. So hypnosis is an altered state of mind, and an altered state of mind which is also conscious, and at the same point of time where the learning can happen. So, you're not sleeping, you're awake, and your state of mind is different because you're able to reach out to an information, you're able to understand a lot of things, and a learning can happen. And hypnotherapy is in that state when you work on yourself, or when the work happens in that state, is called as hypnotherapy. So it's a therapy happening in the state of hypnosis. It's called as hypnotherapy. It started with an Austrian physician I'm talking about an 18th century, but the roots still go to Hinduism, in a sense that in ancient times, when we used to go, when there used to be temples and people used to fall sick, they used to take them to temple. So they used to say, "Raat ko nidra karayenge, subha tak ye theek ho jayega." So that's how we understand. So that's basically the time when people were given suggestions in their mind. And that suggestion work would go deeper into their subconscious and they would feel better in the morning and they would come. That's how it started. But over time, various connotations have come in. People have different definitions, explanations given out. The hypnotherapy and the hypnosis process that I am going to be talking about will come largely from Dr. Kapas, who started working on the structure of mind as to where and how it happens. Any questions on that? Anything on that? Anybody who'd like to ask? Just please feel free.
अचला उस हिसाब से तो जो हम माया बोलते हैं वो तो हिप्नोसिस ही तो है एक तरह का.
This is very interesting to hear, Anu. Maya is separate. Hypnosis is a very practical approach. It's not Maya. You know, when you're sitting during the day, just look at various moments in life. When you're sitting and you're watching television, somebody comes, knocks the door, you can't hear. You're there, you're present, but you can't hear the knock. What is that state? Yeah, but Maya hai.
So you're very engrossed in whatever you're doing, therefore you didn't listen to anything else. So it's
that state is hypnosis state. And this word hypnotherapy is when in that state, the work happens on you is hypnotherapy. Now, when you expand that state a little more, that is when you're able to access to deeper information within yourself. That's what hypnotherapy is all about. And it's very interesting to talk like this because when I started understanding this concept and I went into hypnotherapy, I also went with the same concept. जिसको हम हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना सम्मोहन, कि उसको hypnotize कर दिया and the person did not know what to do and he followed and all that. This is not that. This is a very clear therapy which helps you access deep information within your own self, to be able to reach out the clear purpose of your life, to be able to reach out anything that you'd like to manifest, any blocks, any difficulties that you have in your life, to be able to reach out the core reasons for that. That's what this therapy is all about. It's called as hypnotherapy because it works with that state of mind, which is not the state, which is not a very conscious state. That's the entire crux of this therapy. I'll just tell you.
Suggestion hota hai, some people in meditation, because they have read something or heard something, when they sit down to meditate, they start feeling that they're getting those visuals or they start feeling those things. That is a state of self-hypnotism of thought.
That's a state when you are accessing your own subconscious where the memory is stored. So I'll tell you what it is all like. So, you know, it works with the mind. Can anyone tell me, what do you think of a mind? Would anybody like to tell me what, according to you, is a mind?
मेरे हिसाब से माइंड है जहाँ बहुत सारी इंफॉर्मेशन, थॉट्स एंड प्रोसेसेस स्टोर्ड हैं और हम अपनी कन्वीनियंस और अपनी डेफिनेशन पे उसको एक्सेस कर लेते हैं. अपनी वो ठीक है कि नहीं, सही है कि नहीं, एक्यूरेट है कि नहीं, पर वो हमारे माइंड के ये स्टोरेज है, बेसिकली एक स्टोरेज है ऑफ थॉट्स.
Absolutely. आप काफी हद तक पास में. Where do you think is mind? Is it in
all
the
over,
body?
all over, outside body, inside body, all over, like consciousness, it's all over.
Correct.
I think.
Yeah, absolutely right. Okay, it's outside the body. So the mind, when I'll take you through the logical flow of the mind. So this, you know, when the hypnotherapy entire practice started, hypnotherapy, it started following the model of mind. That's how it started with, to understand basically where and how it happens. So mind has a two parts. So this is how it was explained by Dr. Kapas. So I'm talking about, you know, the model with which the entire therapy is based on. You know, so it's not about we've seen the mind, but it was coming from the clairvoyants who had seen the mind. So this is coming from them, that they have seen the mind, saying that the mind is divided in two parts. One is conscious, the other is subconscious. I'll show you the diagram in a while. And it is found, you know, so this is over time that they, on different practices, they said that the conscious mind is just about 12%. And the subconscious is 88 to 90% of the total mind. And then the subconscious is further divided into two parts, which is modern memory and the primitive memory. Okay. Primitive memory is what a child is born with, जिसको हम पुरानी life बोलते हैं, पिछले जन्म बोलते हैं. And this, when a child is born, there are just two things he's born with. Okay. Two kind of responses. One is a flight response and the other is a fight response. So देखिए जब पैदा होते हैं हम लोग, when we are born, go to a child, if you lift the child, yeah, which is fear of falling. Okay, so there is a fear of falling and there is a laugh. So the child respond, उसके child के जितने भी responses होते हैं, they are either a fight or a flight, which means either the child is going to cry, डर जाएगा, or the child is going to respond to whatever, how it comes. Primitive, in the ancient time, that's how people responded. They just knew the cavemen, and when people started, when the entire humanity was formed, the cavemen, it would either be a flight or a fight response. So fight is when you become aggressive, you respond, and flight is when you actually look for options and you see, you become aware through smell, through sounds, through all this, and you kind of look for a way. Now, when neither of this happens, then it's like a dead response. So there's no response there. Today, this is called as depression, when a person is not responding, when you don't know what to do and there is an escapism. So it's an action. So fight is an action response essentially. Okay. And so the other two things that a child is born with is a fear of falling and fear of loud noises. Now, these are very inborn things that we come with. Anything other than that is either through modern memory or we carry through our primitive memory. That's what I'm coming to. So when a child is born, he's born with two fears, fear of falling and fear of loud noises. So if you go to a child, the moment there is a loud noise, the child becomes fearful. Agar aap usko uthate ho and you kind of, give that thing, the child is fearful. These are two fears we are born with. Anything other than that is out of our social conditioning in this life, or we are carrying it from our past life. Okay, now if you see this, I will just take you through a I'll just share the screen with you. Look at this.
One second, I think the spotlight is on. Let me cancel the spotlight.
Where is that share gone? No, I can't see the share now. Yeah, okay, I see it here.
Yeah.
All right. So if you see, this is the conscious mind. This is the, so the conscious mind, which is just about 12%, and the balance is the subconscious mind, which is modern memory and the primitive memory. And the primitive memory has a built-in a fight and a flight response. It's an action response, and flight is a reaction or an avoidance in whatever way we would like to do it. Okay. Now, so when the child is born, with this primitive mechanism, it doesn't have any logic. There are no inhibitory processes. When I'm talking about inhibitory processes, like we decide, we choose ourselves over the years when we've done that. This is right, this is wrong. This is not to happen in front of people, this is to happen in front of people. So these are different processes which gets built on in our mind over time. And, through various associations, through various identifications. This all is part of the modern memory. When the child is born, there's nothing like that. He's just clearly born with the primitive mechanisms. Now, I'll give you an example for a modern memory. So there's a very interesting case study. So, a man who's about 36 years old, good health, perfect body, good food, all good habits. But there's a constant feeling that there is something wrong and he will die early. There's a constant feeling of that, and there's a fear about it. Okay. And so when the person was taken under hypnosis and, the subconscious was accessed, what came out was that when he was born and he was in the hospital, he was very unwell, just about 3 days old or 4 days old. And the nurses who were standing next to him would chat up and say, it's difficult for this child to survive. He will die. He will die. The child stored that in the memory. And that's a constant feeling of the child. As the child kept growing, he had this constant nagging thought that something will go wrong with him. He'll not be able to save himself. He'll not be able to protect himself. You find many people coming up with various reasons, with various causes like this, saying that this is the problem we have and this is it that we have. So when this happened, that's the time in the process of hypnosis, when he was gone and taken and asked to access the subconscious memory, that's what came out. So it was healed and the person became okay. Now, coming back, so, this is the modern memory that he developed after the, during the life when he was born. It's constantly adding to it. Now, there's something when we talk about, now going back to the thing mind, there is something called as a critical mind. This is the development of, as a person, when the person is born, the development of the entire, how the mind gets developed and how the child picks up and all that. Between the age of 0 to 8 years, there is something that gets developed called as a critical mind. A portion of the critical mind is part of the conscious mind and is also part of the subconscious mind. The information that is coming into the conscious mind, whether it's positive or negative, goes to the critical mind, gets assessed there, and basis that it will either go and get stored in the subconscious or it will be given out. So if you see, this is how it happens. The critical mind is somewhere here. So it's halfway in subconscious and halfway in the conscious. So when I'm saying critical mind, it's like this. There is a child and he's doing something. Mom comes and gives him one tight slap and says, what are you doing? This is wrong. You don't have to do like this. It will go and get stored in the critical mind. Depending on the impact it has on the child, it will either go and get stored in the subconscious or in the conscious mind, it will get wiped off after 24 hours. But because of what happened, the child has already made the rules for himself or herself to behave in a particular manner when that particular thing happens. All of us follow our rule book, but have you ever gone and looked at and checked, where is this rule book coming from? Where has it got formed? A particular way of thinking, a particular way of behaving, success, failure, action, no action. It's all part of the rule book that we have formed over time through associations, identification, experiences, and what we are carrying from our past life. It's a combination of all. The sources of information we all understand we all know where it comes from. So the conscious mind at any point in time works with 4,000 message units. So when I'm saying 4,000, it has been numbered as 4,000. So if you see, at any given time when we are sitting right now, when you're listening to me, you're looking at me, you are in an environment which is also giving you some information. Your eyes are picking up some information. Your feelings are giving you some information. Now, the moment those 4,000 MUs becomes higher, that's when the anxiety comes in. The body responds differently basis that MUs that come to you, and you respond to those MUs. I'm talking about, how this has been found and how this has been taken it for a process of therapy. This is the basic of the model that one works with. If you see here, this is where we pick up information from: environment, body, conscious mind, subconscious mind. And these are different things that we pick up information, the MUs, which is the memory units, and we take it up. Anything till now here?
So the thought that I was having is that this is very similar to the explanations of NLP also, neuro-linguistic programming. It's based on the same understanding, their triggers and their anchors based on memory, and that you're receiving.
Absolutely. So there is something called as Erickson hypnosis. Milton, who was the founder of NLP. The only thing is NLP works more with the body and the triggers in the body.
Sensations.
Yeah, sensations and all that. Hypnosis work more with the mind. Chit, जिसको हम Hinduism में बोलते हैं, chit. Hypnosis works more with that. It's more deeper. The results are very different here. And then each therapy has its own rights and wrongs and good and bads. Yeah, that's how. So you're absolutely right. It does, but it works more with sensation body. So it believes that, every time something happens, it gets stored in the cells in the body and the body responds. Hypnosis comes with the with the belief saying that everything is in the mind. You create your own experiences. It's your thought pattern which form and create your experiences. You come with experiences, you create experiences. So it's like this: body is the hardware, mind is that software which comes with you, where the entire memory is stored. And soul is part of the supreme consciousness, which comes with that mind to experience what the supreme consciousness wants to experience through this body. Hypnotherapy is a process which can help you change, alter, and find the purpose. Whether it's a disease, whether it's a phobia, whether it's a fear, whether it's a spiritual journey, it aids the entire process for each and every human being. Which is why you would hear about past life regression, you would hear about future regression, you would hear about age regression, you would hear about clinical hypnosis. You would hear about case studies which are so interesting, whether this was on a television, Purane Janam Ki Kahani, right? Or whether it's about, I was in hypnosis and I had this huge issue, but I was able to resolve it. Just to give you some more example here. In clinical hypnosis, which actually addresses the diseases and all that, as long as your particular organ has been functioning well and you have seen that in this life, you can actually go and change a damaged organ with that. It'll come back to the same state and the same level. To that extent, it works. Hypnotherapy, for that matter. If I have an issue with, I can't meditate, what is the purpose? What am I here for? What am I supposed to do? I can actually go and talk to my subconscious, which is this subconscious mind, through the process. What happens is, let me just give you some more examples so that you're able to relate to it. Okay. One, I've just told you about the television. When you meditate, what is it that you do when you sit and you meditate? What are you doing in that? Can anybody tell me, share with me what happens then? Where do you think those visual comes from? Or where do you think,
From the subconscious it comes.
Yeah. And the subconscious is nowhere. Subconscious is part of the mind. The conscious mind and the subconscious mind. The job of the subconscious is, which is the supreme, which comes directly from the supreme. The job of the which is where your primitive memory, so which is chip. The job of the subconscious is to direct you. The job of the subconscious is to protect you. The job of the subconscious is to keep telling you all the time that, hey, look at the other side.
So dreams also come from the subconscious?
Dream has a very different connotation. So, dream, there are 3 different kind of dreams. So one, which you do during the day, which comes into your conscious mind, which hasn't got released, come to you in the form of dream. The other is, when you go to deeper, so therefore dream has certain times. So when you sleep, it gets described there. So first 3 hours, second 3 hours, and the third 3 hours. It's like this. So there are some dreams which are basically to release pent up emotions or pent up things inside you. There are some dreams which are basically to tell you become aware. There are some dreams which are only, telling you this is what you slept with. These were the thoughts which you had, which were important, but they had to be released. They had to be given out. That's where the dreams coming from. That's how it's, and this is how we look at dreams when we talk about hypnotherapy.
What about the people you dream of, you've never met in your life and you've never even seen them, and suddenly you see a face out of the blue in your dream, and you feel as though you know the person and you might meet, I don't know, I mean, like very vague at times. What is that exactly?
So dreams is a very separate topic altogether. It's a very, very deep topic. But at this point in time, what you're asking me, it has a lot of connections with the subconscious. You see, the job of the subconscious is to warn you. The job of the subconscious is to tell you each time in your life what is happening. Now, depending on the person that you're dreaming about, your relationship with that person, what you think of that person, it will have all meaning coming from there.
So
It's
what
very
are the
symbolic.
sorry, sorry. So what are the mechanics that the subconscious uses to reach out to me? If it's going to warn me, how does it reach out?
Okay, so how does it work? How does this work? So I'll just tell you this. Now, see, how does the subconscious work? So let me just explain you this. Then we'll talk about the processing dreams and the other dreams. So during the day, the modern memory and the primitive memory. So I'm talking about how the modern memory works. Now, during the day, whatever come to you, the message units, which means whatever we see, we hear, and all that, they can stay in the conscious mind to a maximum of 1.5 hours. Almost everything that we do for the last 1.5 hours is immediately recallable. Okay, but after that, it moves into the conscious mind, and from the conscious mind into the portion of the critical mind in the conscious mind. So the critical mind is like a sponge. It absorbs, it holds, and the capacity to hold there is for 24 hours. So when you sleep, it will then decide where it has to go and store in the subconscious. So whenever, and please know that mind is same for everybody, for a newborn child to an old person. It doesn't really matter whether you are a genius or you're not a genius. The mind is same throughout. What is different is what is stored in that mind, what is stored in that subconscious, which makes you behave differently, which gives you a different world altogether in which you operate. And all of us are connected through supreme consciousness. The subconsciousness is part of that supreme consciousness, what you're getting. It's like a hardware. It's like this, how do you think the Bluetooth happens? Exactly the same way. It's exactly the same way that the subconscious recalls and connects, because it all remains there. It doesn't go away. So when you, for example, let's say when you die, the soul carries the mind. Similarly, the other soul also carries the mind. And there is a connect, which is why we talk about soul group. We talk about families with which we come in. We talk about people that we meet in our lives. There is nothing which is accidental. Nothing at all is accidental. It's all what we think. It's all about what is happening inside that we recall. We're able to attract that and bring to us. And how we think. The most interesting part here is that, in this therapy is that each of us is as good. Each of us is like a supreme being, the supreme, the Lord himself or herself. So the subconscious and the soul which comes together, they come together for a single purpose. If not in this life, then it goes in another life, then it goes in another life. What has been found from various, with all that work that has happened over the years by different people who've written theses and all, there are just 2-3 things which are most critical and important to all beings, which they have come here to learn. Love, forgiveness, acceptability. Now go back and look at it. I mean, ask your own self and look around your own families and the people that are there, who have been there with. What are the key issues normally people come up with, and what are the key issues normally they talk about? I'll give a couple of examples. The diseases. Pick up any disease. Hypnotherapy believes has a cause, which is suppression of emotions, which goes into the subconscious, and the subconscious works with the body, the soul, and that's where it comes in. Anyone who's suffering with cough, constant cough or headache will be going through a lot of indecisiveness. There'll be a constant struggle to take a decision. Arthritis, we talk about, it's blame, it's dominance of people within the family or blaming. Arthritis comes from there. Every single disease that you talk about will have a reason of strong emotions which have been suppressed behind. It's like memory getting stored, and it's not getting released, it's not being acted upon. That's when the body and the soul come in contact, and that's one way of telling. So subconscious tells you through these things, listen man, change, get into the root cause, find what it is. So these things get highlighted either through the diseases that we get into in our lives, the lifestyle that we live in, how we actually get what we define in a life that we want. It's all reflected through the subconscious all the time. And it's like awareness, it's like telling you every moment. So if you go back and you look at life, see what are the patterns which have remained very constant with you in life. कौन सी चीज है जो अभी तक बदली नहीं है, जो किसी न किसी फॉर्म में बार बार वापस आ रही है, बार बार वापस आ रही है, किसी न किसी तरीके से आ रही है. What is it? And that's when you realize that I've still not been able to go beyond that. And that's the purpose of the life for which one is here. Anything that you want to ask, you want to know, because I can tell you a lot of case studies. I can talk about, ideally kya hota hai, whenever we do a session like this, we always have a demo. We always have someone who will talk about, I'll take a demo and I'll take that person into that state, and the person then shares the experience and says there's nothing he was doing. It was such an involuntary behavior. Whatever was happening to him was so involuntary that there was no control of any kind. But at the same point in time, the person is very, very aware. So if you're sitting, while you may not be able to hear anything, what the person is telling you, because you are in that altered state of mind, you just come out like this. You're consciously still aware of what's happening around you.
Have you tried it online?
Never, ever.
We can try now. What's that?
I've never tried online because it's a little difficult to do it, because it's like, where are the MUs coming in and where are things like doing it, because it's a constant touch. It's it's in that environment, it's like a constant touch with that person. So who's sitting, who's coming, who's sitting, and who's talking, it's like a constant touch like that. And when it is not there, it's also about the energy which is flowing between you and that person, which is missing when you do online, which is why the hypnosis will not be done online. Have you seen hypnosis being done online?
I don't know.
Yeah, hypnosis is never done online. It can't be done online more because of the fact that when there is a suggestibility that's happening with the person, and there is a therapist who's working along with that person, whenever there's a suggestibility in that person that's happening, there is a field, an energy field which gets created. Okay. And every place has its own energy field that you get created. When you do meditation, you say, when I'll sit here, I'm able to meditate well. Most of you will have one single place where you would like to go and sit and meditate. When you want to study, you tell yourself, if I sit here, I think I'm able to concentrate well. When you're singing, just go back and ask yourself, these are very interesting things. You see how we create our own roads and our own maps, and and create those triggers within ourselves to do it. Sleeping, you say, I can only sleep on my bed. I find it very difficult to sleep anywhere else. Have you ever thought what is the reason? It's the same mattress somebody else will give you, but you still find that your room gives you the best sleep. You can't sleep anywhere else. Or this, if I'm with that person, I'm more at ease. But whereas if I'm with another person, I'm not at ease. So I can't really talk, and I can't talk about, and I can't do that. These are the reasons why we don't do that. I've never tried online. I never thought it's a successful. I normally work with people online who have gone through the induction with me personally. So it's a very successful doing it then, but induction I've never tried online. I've
But
never
many
heard of
times,
happening.
Achlaa, many times you
Hanji.
don't need to do hypnosis, because a lot of people here, actually I'm from Chennai, here also quite a few people do hypno. When I ask them, would you like to do it, like if I have any problem, they say it's not necessary for you, for me to do for you. So I think they are the one who can judge it, does it need to be done or not.
To
So
each its own. I wouldn't like really to comment. It's like how each doctor is different.
Excuse me.
so you mean to say all your clients will be first go through hypnosis, then only you take the case?
Yes, you see, I normally do it like that. So with each person, there'll be a long conversation which happens. It's very important to understand where the person is coming from.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
long, yeah. So there's a long exchange of conversation that happens with that person. And after that, I take that person through an induction. And when that induction happens, thereafter it can be done online. But the first induction is a physical induction.
And how small a person you can do it for? Like, suppose if some children are very, very stubborn at the age of 5 or 6, can it be done for them?
No, we don't recommend. We don't do that. Okay, they are very, very suggestible. Please, when a person works with the mind as a therapist, whenever somebody is working with the mind, and if the person is very suggestible, it's always good to see how the mind develops. So it's never ever done till the person is 15 years of age. We do
Okay,
not do for a child unless and until the child is 15 years of age.
okay. And one more last question which I wanted to ask. Of course, I'll leave it to Anu also. I have a grandson of 2 years old, and I've seen in certain attitudes, as you were telling me about small kids' behavior. When I give him, if I make him see TV, because the children want some kind of, now because of Corona, we cannot take them out too much. So I like to give him a little, and his mother is very strict. So the moment he sees his mother coming, he will hide it somewhere. Just 2 year old, I'm surprised the way that guy, or he will he'll throw a tantrum. So how to deal, like TV, his mother doesn't let him eat any food, junk food, and I don't mind giving him like one chips. If I'm eating, he'll say, Dadi, give me one. So I want to give it, and mother gets very angry. He knows the mother will come and get angry with the Dadi. So how to deal with such situation? As you just said, that children, they know their mind, what is no and what is yes for them.
I must share with you something. There's something which we do these days called as a womb journey. Okay, so what we have seen is that even when the mother conceives during those 9 months, okay, what the mother goes through, we've seen that, otherwise we've also learned it. All right, what that mother goes through directly impacts the child. Okay, during the womb, those 9 months, whatever happens, the child just knows everything. Basis that, the child decides to take certain vows, they decides to behave in a particular manner. So from 0 to 8 year, that is the time when the child develops a library of associations, whether it's positive or negative. Okay.
अभी क्या कर सकते हैं?
Yeah, and that is what is called as a life script. Now, I just can't say right now कि आप ये कीजिए या ये ना कीजिए, but it's very important to really see what happens at that point in time and understand from the mother. Like when you're saying a 2-year-old child is doing that, there must be something which is getting triggered at that time. We have to address that, and it can't be addressed by the child. This is
You don't
done.
think it's a child's intellect to understand that, oh, the mother is coming, so I better hide that small phone which I gave it to him, so that at least thodi si der to shanti se baithe, like I cannot run after the kid, and the mother goes here and there, so I have to just keep the baby. तो मेरे को लगता है कि चलो थोड़ा सा इसका भी मन का हो जाए, थोड़ा मेरा भी मन का हो जाए, that way. And
now you see yourself कि थोड़ा मेरा भी मन का हो जाए, थोड़ा उसका भी मन का हो जाए. Do you think the child doesn't understand this?
Yeah, he understands.
And why do you think he's doing it then? Because he already has an acceptance and an acknowledgement. He already has an acceptance. It's very interesting to see, like I told you about this case study of a 36-year-old man who, when he was just 3 days old, the nurses were talking, ye zinda rahega ki nahi, he may just die. He carried that feeling. Do you think a child who's 2 years old does not know what dadi also is doing and what dadi actually means? So dadi is also pampering. And dadi is also trying to see ki bhai tu kar le. Now dadi is very confused because she doesn't know whether she needs to or she doesn't need to. But out of love, she's doing it. So the child is also making use of that. And that's what comes out, every single thing that happens, whether it's a child or a grown-up or a teenager or anyone, we all are very, very smart to be able to pick up these subconscious clues.
Yeah, so to bring the subject back to hypnotherapy,
Yeah.
so here we can't do anything with the child. So what you're saying is that the grown-ups have to understand themselves better.
No, I'm not saying that. When you're saying we cannot do anything with the child, here the problem is with whom?
Exactly. It's not with the child.
Yeah.
It's not, that's what I'm saying. The problem is not with the child.
Yeah.
It's about all of the grown-ups have to address their own issues. The child is just reflecting those.
Absolutely. So, the child is just doing what the environment is giving him.
So my question to you is,
association with his identifications.
so Achlaa, my query is that does one have to, let's say this basic understanding one has now of how this functions. So is there something like self-hypnosis that can be done to cure on oneself?
So self-hypnosis works with the conscious mind more than with the subconscious. Self-hypnosis is essentially done when you want to actually make something more stronger within you. So the information through self-hypnosis, you send the information to the critical mind, and you tell the critical mind. When you emphasize something again and again in your conscious mind, it goes to the critical mind, and the critical mind takes it to the subconscious. So it's like this, that if I want to put up, if I want some habit of mine to get created, I'll keep talking about that. In self-hypnosis, I'll go and I will talk and I will do practice that some 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, so that it goes into the subconscious.
Can we remove the share screen so we can see you on the
Sure.
share screen?
Stop
and then
share.
can you also
I'll
demonstrate?
Yeah, all right. Okay, here.
Can you demonstrate, for example, take some issue and then demonstrate that through how?
All right. So like self-hypnosis, if I want to learn concentration, if I want to concentrate more.
Can we take something more like maybe a bad habit that somebody wants to give up? Stop smoking, for example.
Okay, so smoking is a little difficult to go through self-hypnosis.
Okay.
Okay, self-hypnosis will work with you on a simpler aspect. Okay. Okay, let me just give you an example of smoking, a very interesting example of smoking. See, what happens is when the subconscious recognizes pain and subconscious recognizes a known experience. The known experience can be pain, the known experience can be pleasure. But as long as it's known, it stays with the subconscious. Okay. So the first time when I smoke, I feel there's a pleasure. So the information has gone to the conscious mind and it has gone very strongly to the conscious mind. It's pleasure. Okay. And it has gone into the subconscious mind in the modern memory. I repeat that experience again, it gets registered more. I repeat that experience again, it gets registered more. Now, people tell me from the environment I get, look, smoking is not good for health. And then I tell myself, okay, smoking is not good for health, let me leave it. So I go and I say that, no, I'm not smoking, I leave it. I leave there, the conscious mind says, leave it. And the subconscious says, pleasure. So once the signal comes, so these all are inner talks. Please go back and see yourself how it happens to each one of you. So it's all inner talk. So the subconscious says, but it's pleasure. And my conscious mind says, no, I'm not doing it. It's not good for health. The subconscious mind again tells you it's a pleasure. And then I say, no, I don't want to do it. And then in about some more time, the think of pleasure becomes so strong in me that my conscious mind, which is just about 10 or 12%, loses control. And I go back and I do this. Subconscious is almost 88%. Most of the things that we struggle with, we do most of the time is because it's all deep rooted in the subconscious, which is why we keep saying 21 days, 31 days, so that it continues to go and give signal to the subconscious, change this, change this, change this. Now, when we do self-hypnosis, in self-hypnosis, it's the conscious mind that is working, not the subconscious. The conscious mind is more aware of the fact that, listen, I'm taking this instruction for a particular change. Therefore, in self-hypnosis, the deeper issues are not able to get resolved, but the simpler issues can get resolved. You may go back and talk about no smoking, and in self-hypnosis, you go may and say that, no, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do this. But it will still come back because it's stored in the subconscious, which is why it becomes difficult to leave that. And
The practice be okay, not smoking, but if there is anything, like you said, concentration.
Concentration can happen. It can definitely impact, but you have to continue to practice this again and again so that it continues to get stored more and more. So
practice kaise,
okay, so there is an entire script of self-hypnosis. Okay. And the script of self-hypnosis is, okay, I wasn't very sure. I thought I will take you all through to a particular script, you know, where you can kind of pick and choose that. But I wasn't very sure if online you all would like to go through a script and pick up one issue and you know, in self-hypnosis and just do that.
Something practical, since you can't do a take one volunteer and demonstrate. I thought if we look at self-hypnosis, maybe that is something people can do for themselves then that way. That is why I thought of it. If you don't think it works, it's fine by me.
No. Self-hypnosis can easily work. So there's a very simple script which I can kind of just take you all through, and you all have to just pick up and choose. You can do that. The other, right now, if I were to do a finger spreading test, I don't know who would like to come and talk about. Who would like to volunteer it?
Kya karna hai?
Okay, can I? How much time do we have just now? We're already at 4:25.
How much time do you need?
At least 20-25 minutes, a little more than that.
So let people decide. कोई बोलेगा कुछ? मैं ही बोलती जा रही हूँ.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, even
I'm also fine.
I'd like to see one self-hypnosis.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I'll just get the script. Just give me about 2-3 minutes. I'll get the script and we'll all go through a self-hypnosis. Okay.
Yeah, please.
Just give me a minute. Yeah.
Sounds good.
अनु जी बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है इनका टॉक. Very, very nice.
Yeah, she's such a nice person.
Very, very nice. And
Cafe spirituality के actually सारे talks अच्छे होते हैं.
सारे talks. I'm so grateful to you, Anu. Really, very, very grateful to you. Because all these interest me a lot.
I'm glad we are all resonating. Let me second that.
अन्नू है भी तो ऐसी जौहरी की चुन चुन के लाती हैं.
हाँ, ये बात सही है.
ये अचला की तारीफ से अन्नू की तारीफ वाला सेशन बन गया. I like this.
ये कहाँ रहती हैं? दिल्ली?
हाँ.
She's in Delhi?
Yeah.
अच्छा. So we can have a number. You can share a number so that if anybody wants to.
Yeah, sure. She's a cafe spirituality group में है अचला. She's there in it.
अच्छा. But she's so patient and so nicely she's talking. No, that's one thing I'm liking about it. Even you are like that, Anu.
I haven't heard being patient as one of my virtues, but it's nice to hear that.
Because I am that man, na? When you talk, you don't get irritated. You really nicely talk to and say everything so nicely.
अचला तेरी तारीफ हो रही है यहाँ पे.
Yeah, acha. Thanks. Okay, so I'll just do a small script with you, okay? And instead of self-hypnosis, this is a script where I'll take you down and maybe go back. What is it that, pick up anything, all of you just pick up anything that you would all like to, concentrate or choose for yourself. It could be a concentration, it could be habit that you would like to look at, or if you want to go down the age and see for yourself what could have particularly happened, any particular incident or anything if you want. So I would call this as an age regression. Instead of self-hypnosis, okay, I'll talk about this as an age regression, okay? Let's see how it works with all of you. It's a simple script, though it's going without induction. Let's see where it takes you all and what is the experience that you all feel. The first most important thing we do in therapy is called as child integration. The child integration is between 0 to 8 years. You know, between 0 to 8 years is when we form our most associations and identification and create a life script. And most of the time when we've done that, we have decided for ourselves how we're going to be leading a life. And it becomes very difficult to change after that. So let's do this age regression and I'll take you down. Let's see what is it that you all encounter for your own self. How does it work for you all? Is that okay?
Sounds good.
Okay, great. Okay, so just make yourself comfortable wherever you all are. If you want to lie down, feel free. If you want to take a nice chair, but be in a state where you're not moving. So you're very easy, you're very relaxed. You don't have to really sit upright. You can even have a slanting back or a light or whatever is comfortable for you. Okay. Take 3 deep breaths and say the word relax. Mentally say the word relax to yourself 3 times. So Anu, aren't you sitting too straight? Do you want to kind of?
No, I'm very relaxed.
Okay, all right.
Thanks.
Yeah. So mentally say the word relax to yourself 3 times. You can even pick up a point on the ceiling if you want and start staring at that point. And whenever you feel your eyes are tired, just allow your eyes to close. Just keep staring and each breath and become aware of your breath while you're staring at a point on the ceiling. Become aware of your breath and allow yourself to get relaxed. With each breath that you're taking, allow your body to relax. The more you relax, the deeper you go, and the deeper you go, more you relax. With each breath, give yourself the permission to go deeper and deeper. The deeper you go, more relaxed you are. More relaxed you are, the deeper you go. With each breath, give yourself the permission to go deeper and deeper. The deeper you go, more relaxed you are, and more relaxed you are, the deeper you go. And as I leave you like this for the next few moments, you will keep going deeper and deeper. Each time I'll count 1, open your eyes. Each time I'll count 2, close your eyes. But know that every time you open or close your eyes, you'll keep going deeper and deeper. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1, 2. Deep sleep. Focus all your attention on your eyelids and feel the entire tension moving out with your exhaling breath. Visualize or imagine that you're on top of a staircase. It has 20 steps down, very well lit, with the sturdy handrails on both sides. Whenever you have that visual image in your mind, nod your head. It's okay if you all are doing or not doing. It's okay to imagine. Not everyone can visualize, but everyone can imagine. And when you imagine yourself on the top of staircase, just nod your head. Keep your eyes closed. As I count from 20 down to 0, starting with your left foot, you will go down that staircase. Each step you take down will take you twice as deep, make you more relaxed, make your body lighter and lighter. When you get to the bottom of the staircase, you will be very deep in your own subconscious mind, and your body will feel so light and comfortable, as if the whole body was made of light only. Starting now, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Now that you're at the bottom of the stairs, get in touch with your light body. Just allow it to flow. Whatever comes, just allow it to flow. Just don't use your conscious mind, your logical mind. Just experience the way it's coming to you. It is so light and so comfortable, as if the whole body is made of light. As you go deeper, with each and every breath that you take, let your mind drift back in time, going way back, drifting easily, naturally, almost effortlessly, becoming younger and younger now, going way back, knowing that you are safe, realizing also that you are safe and secure. And no matter how far you may go, you will still never be out of touch with the sound of my voice. My instructions will take precedence over everything you experience, either physically or emotionally. You may now view your past experiences as if you are a spectator from a safe distance with no physical or emotional attachment to them, until or unless I suggest such an attachment. Now think about your particular fear or phobia or whatever frightens you, and know and realize that you are safe and secure, viewing yourself as a detective. You are curious and eager to learn of the origin of your fear, eager to investigate all clues. Now, in a moment, I'm going to ask your subconscious mind a question, and answer me in this way. If the answer of any question is yes, then the forefinger of your right hand will rise. If the answer to any of my question is no, then the forefinger of your left hand will rise. Do you understand? Just answer with the appropriate finger. Now go back in time to the first time you experienced whatever you have decided for yourself, the very first time, the fear very first time. See it at a distance. You might even imagine that you're viewing it on a movie screen. You are physically and emotionally detached from the event, viewing it clinically and dispassionately until and unless I suggest otherwise. You now begin to understand why you felt fearful. Small pieces of puzzle are beginning to fit as you view the first episode of your fear. I would like to ask your fingers, is this the first time I felt my fear? If not, continue to drift back on time, growing younger and younger until you recall the incident that caused your fear or phobia. When you reach a time that feels right, as if it might be the one you are searching for, again ask your fingers, is this the first time I felt my fear? Now then, I would like you to experience this event as if it were actually happening. Become a part of that scene and experience completely and totally, physically and emotionally, all that you felt then. And my signal is this. Of course, though you're reliving the experience, there is also a part of your mind that knows that you're quite safe and secure in that chair. So go ahead, feel fear or panic or anxiety or whatever else would be appropriate. Just let it happen. Now, I would like you to go through it again. Only this time your fear and anxiety will be considerably less. Once again, the fear and anxiety will be further lessened. And once again, the fear and anxiety further reducing. I would like you now once more remove yourself from the event and again view it as a spectator, as if you're watching it on the movie screen. And you realize both consciously and subconsciously that you're viewing this from the perspective of a person who's older, wiser, and more mature than the person you were when you originally experienced it all those years ago. And you now begin to feel much more comfortable, and you know both consciously and subconsciously that the past no longer has any influence on you in the present. Let the screen come a little closer to you now and begin to let go and release old emotional ties to the past. Let go of fear, let go of anger, and embrace understanding and freedom. As you allow the screen to come closer and closer, you find these memories are losing their hold on you. And now I would like you to imagine a cord connected from you to the screen, a cord that ties you to the past. Just imagine cutting that cord to the screen, and as you do, you release yourself from the past. Just watch the screen fade away. It grows more and more faint. The screen is dim and disappearing, and as the screen fades, you begin to feel a healing take place. Healing from the past few years and past experiences. Healing and soothing. Take a deep lung-filling breath, and as you let it out, the final remnants of your fear just rise from you. See it disappearing like an empty balloon. You feel peaceful, serene, relaxed, and tranquil as you realize, both consciously and subconsciously, that your old fear is not only gone, but it's been replaced by strength and confidence. And just remain there for a few moments. In a few moments, I'm going to count you from 1 to 5. At 5, you'll be fully awake, feeling really good about yourself, knowing that you have taken a journey across time. First, we will start with 0, and there is always a tendency to go deeper at 0. Start coming up with 1, higher up with 2, even higher with 3, aware of everything around you at 4, and eyes wide awake at 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Please take your own time. Anyone would like to share something if you're back?
Does anyone want to share? You can unmute yourself. बहुत स्टिलिंग था. Somebody has asked a question. She's
Yeah.
saying,
How do we do? I'll answer this question.